Hello, for my clients that are joining me here today, thank you. Thank you for being here with me. I hope you all are doing well. And for everyone else joining in, it's great to have you here. I hope you really enjoy this three-part series called How to Build Wealth Without All the Risk. I'm Justin Martin, and I'm excited to be here with you today. And the reason I'm so excited to be here is because I've seen what this financial system and this strategy has done for me personally and for my family. Let me just scroll down the page here. So I am a wealth strategist here with Paradigm Life. But before I was a wealth strategist, before I was here with Paradigm Life, I first started out as a client. I first started out as someone that was looking for a different financial strategy. Let me just give you a quick background. So back in 2007, 2008, I was working as a financial advisor at the time, doing a lot of stock trading, managing accounts, looking at mutual funds, the market, etc. I was also doing some real estate investing on the side. And like many out there, like many of you, 2008 hit, and it hit really hard. And I quickly saw that the theory that I'd always been taught to diversify your assets and you'll be okay, it didn't work for me. It didn't matter where I put my money or what I did, everything lost 20, 30, 40%. As well as all the money that I was investing for my clients. So that's really when I had to take a step back and say, you know what, I'm a lot more conservative than that. Putting that much risk in the hands of Wall Street was a little bit more than I wanted to take on. So I had to find a different way. And that's when I started doing a lot of research, reading books, reading articles online, listening to podcasts, when I came across this strategy. Now, the strategy that we're talking about here, I'm going to be referring to it as the perpetual wealth strategy. It's known by a lot of different names out there. You'll hear it be called the infinite banking concept, income for life, bank on yourself, cash flow banking, 770 accounts. It's all this same system. And what this system is, it's a system that allows you to maintain control of your hard-earned money, maintain the liquidity on that money, still have guaranteed rates of return on that money, but minimizing the risk. Okay? That's what I was looking for. Hopefully that's what you're looking for also, but that's what I'm going to be showing you here in this system. Okay? So let me come down here. Let's go to the next page if this will work for me. Okay, so I'm showing you here a picture of one of the prettiest places on earth that I've ever been to. This is a picture of a little town called Zermatt, Switzerland. Okay, Zermatt is famous for this mountain peak right here at the top, the Matterhorn. Okay, we know it's famous through Disneyland, but the Matterhorn is found in Switzerland. And to get there, some of you may have been there, but to get there, you ride on this cog train that goes straight up the mountainside. And then all of a sudden it levels out and drops you into this gorgeous vista. All of these little homes, this little village. There's no really cars in this area, the only way to access this little town is via this cog train or a helicopter coming and dropping you in there. So I went there, and I was there with my family, and it was a great time. And we spent a few days there and absolutely loved it. Never hiked the Matterhorn, didn't make it up there. We took a helicopter ride around it because it's a pretty tall peak and a pretty treacherous hike. But I want to use the Matterhorn as an example of what we're going to be going through here throughout this three-part series, okay? So here we have the Matterhorn. Now, what I want to talk about is someone deciding to go and hike the Matterhorn. So let's say you and I are going to go hike this Matterhorn. We're going to hike this mountain together. So here we are. We're down here in our base camp. Cam, draw here on my screen. We're hanging out here. We're prepared. We've got our tools ready to go. We've got our hiking boots on. We've got our oxygen tanks if needed. I don't even know if they're needed here. But we're ready to go. We've got our guides with us that have been up there a few times. And we start making this trek up the Matterhorn. Okay, there's some switchbacks that go back and forth until we make it right here to the very top of this mountain peak. We put our flag into the mountain peak and we say, we've arrived at the summit. We have made it, right? Well, anyone that's a professional hiker knows that getting to the summit, putting that flag in there is a pretty amazing accomplishment. But just as important getting up to the top of that mountain, it's also now coming back down the mountain, right? I want to compare this mountain climb to our finances. Okay? A lot of times when you meet with financial planners, financial advisor, brokerage houses, they all talk about that retirement goal. What is your retirement goal? How much money are you saving up? How are you going to get there? Right? They're talking about getting to the summit. But how do you really know what that summit's going to be if you don't really even know how to get down the other side? Okay? So when we're talking about finances, there are two distinct stages of finances that we have to talk about. Personal family finance. One is going to be this accumulation phase. Okay? The accumulation phase or the growth phase, this is where you are saving money, you're building money, you're creating cash flow, you're looking for rates of return, etc., to get you all the way up to this peak. And then on the way down, we have our distribution phase. Okay, this is our income phase. This is where we're now saying we have this hard-earned money. What is the safest way down this mountainside? Okay, so there's two very distinct ways of talking about your personal finances, your family finances when it comes to your retirement, okay? For purposes of our conversation, we are over here on the accumulation side. We're working up to that peak. We're growing, okay? And the system that we're going to be talking about is a system that's going to help you get up to that peak in a very safe way and position you in a way where you can come down and have guarantees that you'll get down to the very bottom, okay? Let's go down here to the next page. Now this system is a system that's not anything new. It's not anything revolutionary. It's actually been around for decades and decades and decades. Okay? But it's not really used very much in Middle America per se. All right? When we look at families across the nation that are using it, it's usually these dynasty wealthy type families that we see using it. I've listed up here some of the families. Okay, the Stanfords, the Disney. You've got some famous actors, some famous athletes. You've got U.S. presidents. You've got congressmen that use this type of a financial strategy for their own personal finances. Okay, so it's something that's been around for a very, very long time. All right. Now, the system that we're using is actually a very simple system. All that it is it's the combination of family trusts with insurance, life insurance. Okay? Now, before you turn off this video here, let me explain. Okay? When we look at the families, let's say a family like the Kennedy family. When we look at the Kennedy family and we say, oh, every Kennedy has money and it trickles down and there's trust fund babies and there's all of the nieces, nephews, and cousins, they all have money. This is the system. They've been able to create these family trusts and this life insurance that allows those that are alive to have money that's growing, that's guaranteed, and then when they pass away, it passes into the next generation. Okay, that's what we're talking about here. And we'll go into a lot of details with all this as we go along, but let me just touch briefly here on how some of this is set up, and then the next videos we'll talk more strategy with it, okay? So once we've got this family trust set up, the other thing that we want to do is we want to be putting into this trust this cash-rich life insurance policy. And I emphasize cash-rich because life insurance is important to have for estate planning purposes and for legacy planning purposes. But actually, the way that we want to set up this policy, we want to get the death benefit as low as we possibly can, okay? So there will be death benefit associated with it because it is life insurance benefit. But we want to get that death benefit as low as we can. And the reason for that is the lower we can get that death benefit, the lower our cost of insurance, which means as we are putting premium payments into this policy, as we're contributing money into this policy, Okay, we're going to say this circle right here represents the life insurance policy. As you're putting this additional premium payment into this policy, it is building inside of what is called the cash value of the insurance policy, okay? The cash value, it's like having a savings account built inside of your insurance policy. Once you've satisfied the cost for that death benefit, then any additional money that you're putting into this policy is landing in this cash value. Now, cash value is a term that I'm going to come back to time and time again, so remember that term. But here's the reason why. Cash value has some pretty amazing living benefits that we can utilize, okay? First of all, cash value has a guaranteed growth on it, all right? Contractually, when you set up this type of a life insurance policy and it's structured in a way where we're building a cash-rich policy, you're getting a guaranteed growth inside of that policy. And when you and I meet, we start to develop this system built around you, we'll look at that guaranteed growth. I'll show you what that is and where that's happening, okay? On top of that growth is also the possibility of a dividend. Okay, so you're getting growth, you're giving dividend on top of that, and if all of it is structured correctly, all of that growth is also tax-free, which is pretty incredible. We don't have very many tax-free vehicles out there anymore. Maybe Roth IRAs, maybe some muni bonds, but definitely insurance as long as we structure it correctly. So we'll talk through that, but you're getting tax-free growth, not tax-deferred like your 401ks and IRAs, actually tax-free growth, okay? So you have all this money in there, it's building in there, it's compounding in there every year, and then you still have control over this money, okay? There are two different ways that you can get access to that money. Number one is through a withdrawal, okay? Or what the insurance companies will call a surrender. You can surrender out that money, you can withdraw out that money whenever you want. Day one of your policy, you start it up, you start this system, this perpetual wealth system, you can withdraw that money, okay? That's one strategy. The other strategy is through what is called a policy loan, where you can go out and borrow against the insurance policy. Now, the majority of our times that we meet together in different appointments and meetings, we will actually be talking a lot of strategy dealing with these policy loans, how you can leverage out this policy loan in a very safe way to build additional cash flow. Okay, so pretty incredible. We'll come back to that time and time again. Okay, so again, guaranteed growth. You got your dividends. It's all growing tax-free. You can have complete control and access to that money whenever you want. You can leverage out that money and utilize it to really start creating wealth. To create wealth the exact same way that these wealthy dynasty families have been creating wealth. You can create wealth the exact same way that my family has been creating wealth. Okay? It's a system that works and it's pretty incredible. Now, in the next session, when we meet up, so look for part 2 of this series, we're going to really start diving into the numbers behind all of this. How does this actually work? How are you actually creating that wealth? Okay? So stick around with me. Go find part 2 of the video. Okay? If for whatever reason we haven't met yet together, there's also a way for you to schedule an appointment with me. Either call me directly, email me, or there's this hyperlink that I'll put in also into this video that you can click on, and you can go and schedule an appointment there. Any one of those ways, but give me a call, okay? I'm super thrilled that you're really researching this and looking into this. Again, the most important part of everything that you're doing here is educating yourself. All right? I don't ever want to feel like we're pushing you into something here, because in all reality, when it comes down to it, you care more about your money than anyone else does. But I want to be able to provide you the education and the tools and the systems that you need in order to make that decision, so you can start to create more cash flow, so you can start to create that guaranteed income that we're all hoping for when we get to that retirement age, and even right now at this point in the growth stage. All right? So thanks again, and please find part 2. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks.